Up next, the biggest mistake you can make when you test drive a new car. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, the place where new car buyers save thousands off their next new cars. Hit me up on the website for that. Here is an example of the hot water one can easily poach oneself in should one blow the all-important test drive. I have a Ford Ranger XLT as my company car and I love it. Apart from the tyres, I know the car needs to be able to tow 3,500 kilograms, but these Dunlop Grandtrek AT22 tyres, made in Thailand, are horrible. I understand that all that torque and wet roads is a problem, but the lateral front and rear grip is horrible most of all. I know the tyres are the worst tyres I have ever had on any car, but it still slips and slides even when I am driving sedately around the suburbs. Thankfully, I haven't needed to take any evasive action in the wet, but the day I do, shit a brick. Is there anything you can recommend to help? I have dropped the pressures and all that does is make it feel more like an old Land Rover Discovery. Still has bad lateral grip though. When you are driving on sealed roads, dropping the pressures is a bad idea. Handling always suffers, grip will nosedive, wear rates will skyrocket. That's kind of bad, so don't do that. Naively, perhaps, I intimated in my personalised monogrammed response delivered by purebred carrier pigeon to Michael that changing the shit Grandtreks for, quote, more road-biased rubber with a good reputation for grip might be an excellent move. Now, unfortunately, Michael didn't seem to think so. Your response makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense. I don't understand why we should pay another $1,000 plus to get decent tyres when surely the car should come with at least half decent tyres when you are spending 60 grand on a new ute. Allow me to translate, okay? Makes sense. Makes sense. Doesn't make sense. I really don't like the facts, so if you don't mind, my head is going to remain in the friggin' sand. The facts can be inconvenient, certainly. Captain's log, stardate 170319. That's not how they do it in Retardistan, I know. I have zero respect for people who treat the facts as if they are negotiable. Problem, solution, facts. That's how this works. You don't actually have to like them, but you have to acknowledge they're facts. This is an epic test drive fail, frankly, deep at its core. The problem here is when you buy a car and then much later on you decide it has an operational characteristic that you just don't like the tyre performance, perhaps. It's a lot better to decide this before you buy the damn car and then simply don't buy it. That's a plan, in my estimation. I see people fighting these losing battles with car makers and dealers all the time. They go to war, they demand refunds, they drop cash on lawyers. All to fight unwinnable battles simply because not liking an operational characteristic of the car you bought is not the same thing as prosecuting a design defect. And to dumb this right down, okay, consumer law does not give a shit about your feelings or preferences. It just doesn't care. It is there to protect you against serious defects. Michael's tyres were selected by a team of engineers, right? Probably poorly, I mean, it was a Ford job. But even so, these blokes used a list of performance criteria like noise reduction, ride quality, grip across a wide variety of surfaces, whatever. Lateral grip on good bitumen probably suffered, especially unladen, as a consequence of this process, just because of the nature of the vehicle and its load carrying and all-terrain capabilities and the diverse range of surfaces it is designed to perform upon. And that's just how this is. If you expect car-like handling, you should probably buy a car, I'd suggest, because that's what they're for. So this is not a defect nor a breach of the acceptable quality consumer guarantee. It is merely a characteristic that Michael doesn't like. I've had a spate of these lately, okay? They just blow me away. One bloke, obviously an enthusiastic breeder, he sold his Toyota Corolla in favour of a Kia Carnival. Ultimately, he didn't like how it steered. But there was no intrinsic problem with the steering, right? Other than his subjective determination that it was faulty, which was nothing more than a bullshit argument of convenience. I don't like it, therefore it's faulty, kind of thing. And I know this because he made such a profoundly compelling case that the steering was shit and Kia wasn't helping him via email that I actually met him and drove his car, and it was fine. I mean, that's an hour of my life I'm never going to get back, politely saying, it's fine, mate. That's how they all steer. It's just not a Toyota Corolla, which is what you're used to. And of course, I was ultimately just another asshole for aligning myself with the objective facts. So that was rewarding. Another bloke recently, right, stridently claiming that his dual clutch transmission was faulty. It was slipping, dogs and cats living together. He played the safety card pretty hard there. It was all total bullshit too. It was just a dual clutch transmission functioning completely normally. They just feel different to automatics, right? That's not a defect, it's a difference. The point is, right, these people argue blue in the face that the vehicle is defective, and the facts are way over there, right? On a different planet, in a different friggin' universe. Would it not, therefore, be impossibly excellent to be able to jump into Doctor Who's TARDIS, particularly now she's such a hottie, and go back in time to the test drive? Because this is where people blow it. The mistake fundamentally stems from this. Men especially blow it because on a test drive, a lot of blokes are under extreme implicit pressure. It's pressure to be an authoritative expert on cars suddenly, like you're a carpenter or an accountant all day long and you've driven the same vehicle for the past 5 years and suddenly you expect yourself to be some kind of test driving ninja. Yes, like that's gonna work properly. Instead of trying to channel your inner R&D test driver, and instead of trying to pretend that you're writing a car review, your main job here in this process is to drive normally, as you would normally drive your car, on the kinds of roads that you would normally drive upon. And then you've got to listen very hard indeed to the messages that the car is sending you back. You need to think carefully about the operational characteristics of that car, the steering, the powertrain, the comfort levels, the audio quality, the vision you've got in 360 degrees, lateral grip in Michael's case. And your mission is simply to identify anything that is likely to shit you right off for the next 3 to 5 years. So I'd say worry less about understeer and oversteer and extremes of performance, unless you are buying a proper performance car, and worry more about what it's like to do a hill start and how the cameras and sensors help or not during a tight reverse park and how it goes backing up that steep driveway at home or whatever. How does it drive on a straight line in a highway, right? How does that feel? How does it feel in stop-start traffic? And if you are used to driving a conventional auto or a manual transmission and the car you're test driving has a newfangled CVT or DCT, decide whether or not you can make friends with that. All cars feel different, right? And unless you've spent a few years, or 25, like me, jumping out of, a 7 Series and into a Kia Rio or whatever, you've got to give yourself time to acclimatise to all those operational differences. The test drive is a major exercise here and you need to prepare for it, psychologically at least. If the dealer's trying to shoehorn you into a 5-minute lap around the block, How about you make it clear that the purchase rides on you getting sufficient wheel time to make a considered assessment without spending the big bucks? Because you've got the gold here, and that means you get to make the rules. If the dealer insists on coming along for the ride, tell him to shut up, perhaps even politely. Do this so that you can concentrate on driving the damn car and listen to what it's saying as opposed to him. You're not in this together, you and him, right? You are not trying to be mates. The fundamental problem for most test drivers is, at a deep level, they're testing themselves and how well they can drive the vehicle. And that is very different to actually testing the vehicle. It's like letting the horse be in charge of the damn jockey, which generally does not end well. Most people get the test drive wrong to some extent, so don't be one of those people. Because if you do, it's like being in a bad marriage for 3 to 5 years with the mother-in-law from hell if you decide to fight some losing battle over the decision you made. Michael's solution is one of the better remedies here. Just pony up, mate, and spend $1,200 on 4 new tyres. If you've got 60 grand to spend on a brand new Ranger, you can afford $1,200 for replacement tyres. You don't have to like it. And it's your mistake, so don't expect Ford to fix it. And now, a little nutbag-inspired coat of arms. Kangaroos! I had to stop the vid laughing and almost developing a brain hemorrhage in the process. Damn it! Almost a brain hemorrhage doesn't count. And I was hoping for at least one viewer death over that comment. But not a subscriber, obviously, which is one more excellent reason to subscribe right now and hit the bell notification icon thing, button, whatever. Protect yourself from a brain hemorrhage today. Kangaroos was, of course, a salient feature of my turbo overboost video, which is up there, I think. It's a fusion of Middle Eastern cuisine and the second dumbest animal on the Shitsvillian coat of arms. Hummus plus flatbread plus roadkill and tabbouleh. Garlic sauce for the true aficionado. It's a thing, apparently. Kangaroos. Just don't char the joey during the roasting phase. That's vital. Retardistan has the bald eagle. Russia has the mighty bear. We have the two animals that failed the room temperature IQ test in degrees C. Yes. I do not know where to get kangaroo for breakfast. Australia. Obviously. What exactly did Australia invent that the whole world benefits from? Lol. Well, not much, frankly. Kangaroos, most recently. That was pretty good. We're a bunch of welfare-cheating, beer-swilling ex-convicts with generally loose morals, We weaned ourselves away from being British on a diet of deadly reptiles and dingo piss, so I guess global expectations are somewhat low. Counterintuitively, perhaps, this has actually been a breeding ground for innovation. The Australian inventions I can think of off the top of my head include the black box flight recorder, inflatable aircraft safety slides, the electronic heart pacemaker, spray-on skin, the medical application of penicillin, plastic banknotes, the bionic ear, the electric drill, the winged keel, and I think there might be one or two other salient Shitsvillian contributions to the world. Oh, there's Wi-Fi, of course. That's a thing now. And Google Maps. Retardistanis hate it when you point this out. Permaculture, we did that. Polymer spectacle lenses, the medical ultrasound scanner, the cervical cancer vaccine, the Mighty Hills hoist, the Frazier lens, race cam, Vegemite. We saved the southern bluefin tuna from extinction by inventing a tank-based breeding system for that. I think that's about it. But you know when you get something in the back of your mind, there's always one other thing and you always forget it. It's like a psychological weak spot. Excuse me. Wait. Really? I did not know that, you know. I always presumed that was the Japs or the Chinks, right? Because they are all over that kind of thing, typically. I think you'd agree. Well, that's awesome, you know. I had no idea. Well done, us. Again. Right. I love you too. Okay, bye. I'm being told that we also invented the solid-state, see-through dildo phone, the Swiss Army knife of consumer appliances, the next big thing. Probably our finest achievement right there, I'd suggest. I know I love mine, and it's so versatile. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Easy to store too. It slides in anywhere.